Hello, welcome to another Orange Dragon gaming deck profile. We're going to go over Ultra Necrozma Malamar. This is the deck I played at Collinsville Regionals, not very successfully. This is a list we saw online on our drive home that we liked quite a bit. It had some smarter choices in trainer cards and such that make it more consistent. So, Ultra Necrozma, Dragon type, 190 HP basic. Pretty solid for a basic. You have a efficient energy cost with Metal Psychic. Photon Geyser does 20 plus 80 more damage for each psychic energy you discard off of the Ultra Necrozma. The only kind of bad side to it is you have to discard every psychic energy off of it. So you can't just like kind of load it up, get 4 or 5 on there and then just kind of pick and choose how much damage you do. You're discarding all of them every time. We don't mind doing that so much because we have Malamar, and its entire purpose is to take psychic energies rather, from the discard pile and put it back onto one of our benched Pokemon. So, attack with 1, put it back on the bench with switches, Guzmas. You can switch into a Jirachi, use its Stellar Wish to find another trainer card. Maybe you need to find your skateboard to retreat the Jirachi out of the active, reload it back up with Psychic Recharge, go back in, swing again. So that's kind of one strategy, is to just kind of hammer your opponent with Ultra Necrozma. That works primarily against bigger EX, GX decks. The other strategy is to kind of go with a single prize variant, which would be revolving around using Giratina as your main attacker, not Ultra Necrozma. Giratina has a very powerful ability. Once during your turn before you attack, if this is in your discard pile, you may put it onto your bench. If you do, put 1 damage counter on 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So every time you are successful in throwing Giratina into the discard pile, you can then bring it back and drop 1 damage counter on 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. It doesn't seem like a lot, but that 1 damage counter sets up a spread attack that you have later with Ultra Necrozma. It basically changes your opponent's Pokemon's HP. So, for instance, you're playing against a deck that features Jirachi, that has 70 HP. You can Distortion Drawer, drop 10 damage on there. Hi, buddy. You can drop the 10 damage on there. Late in the game, when the situation calls for it, you can go for Sky Scorching Light GX. So Sky Scorching Light GX, you can only use it if the total number of prize cards remaining is 6 or less between you and your opponent. But then you put 6 damage counters on every Pokemon your opponent controls. By the way, this is Deuce. He likes Pokemon too. He's very excited that I'm home now. So, like I said, Sky Scorching Light can then kind of mop up and wipe off your opponent's board in one fell swoop. So you can use the Giratina to help kind of set up those numbers. The other way to set up some numbers and allows you to reach for even bigger Pokemon is this is actually a 2 of Tapu Koko. No, it's a 1 of. My mistake. I just own 2 of them. So Tapu Koko Flying Flip, you do 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. That can change the game. So now, again, we go back to Distortion Door. You're dropping 1 damage counter on 2 Pokemon. Malamar happens to have 90 HP. 10 plus 20 plus 60 equals game over. So the 10 damage from Distortion Door, 20 damage from a Flying Flip, Sky Scorching Light when the situation is right, game over. We do play 2 Jirachi from Team Up. This card is insanely powerful. You get to look for an extra trainer card out of the top 5 cards of your deck once a turn while it's active. You put yourself to sleep, you don't really mind. Actually, you don't, just flat out do not mind. Skateboard. It reduces the retreat cost of Jirachi from 1 to 0, and then it allows you to retreat while you're asleep or paralyzed. Such a card has never been printed in Pokemon to my knowledge until this point. That being said, the only other things that we have in the deck, we have 1 of Tapu Lele GX, which when you play it down from your hand to the bench, you get to search your deck for a supporter card, which is a very, very powerful effect. It also gives you access to an Energy Drive attack, which you can load up pretty heavy if the situation calls for it with Malamars and such. And it does give you another GX attack option with Tapu Cure GX, which lets you heal all the bench damage, or all damage from 2 benched Pokemon. It's not bad for Psychic Energy. You don't end up using it a whole lot. And then for when you're playing against Pikachu Zekrom Tag Team GX, we have Marshadow GX. Marshadow GX allows you to copy the attacks of any basic Pokemon in your discard pile. You just need to have the right energy attached to it. So with Malamar, we can constantly charge up with our Psychic energies. So you can use Marshadow GX to copy Giratina's Shadow Impact, which will knock out a Pikachu Zekrom for you clean. You can also use it to copy Photon Geyser, and that'll get the job done as well. For Metal, Psychic, Psychic, you discard and you're swinging and you're knocking out that big old Pikachu Zekrom. So a couple things I liked about this variant of the list as opposed to the one that I was previously using. No Acrobikes and more Pokemon Search. So this list opts for a big heavy line of 4 Mysterious Treasures and 4 Nest Balls and 3 Ultra Balls. Mysterious Treasure gets us Ultra Necrozma, Giratina, Inkay, Malamar, and Tapu Lele. Nest Ball gets us Ultra Necrozma, Marshadow, Tapu Koko, Jirachi, Giratina, Inkay. It does technically get you Tapu Lele, but you then don't get to use its ability, so I don't recommend doing that. Ultra Ball gets you everything. 4 Viridian Forest. I was playing around with 2 and never having a problem until my opponent dropped Wondrous Labyrinth or Thunder Mountain late in the game because I was being silly and throwing away my Viridian Forest a little too early, thinking that my opponent only plays 1 stadium, I should be able to handle him before then. No, don't do that. 3 is probably a number I will end up settling in at, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to stick with 4. The other thing I liked a lot, the 1 Acerola comes in handy in both the mirror match and against things like Pikachu Zekrom if they whiff the knockout. Because you have 190 HP, when they use their full blitz attack, they have to have a Choice Band and Electro Power or 2 Electro Powers. It doesn't always happen. So if they whiff it, you Acerola, negate the damage from that turn. You get to drop down the Ultra Necrozma again, attach Mental Energy, Psychic Recharge, maybe even Psychic Recharge again. Hopefully you have Jirachi with a skateboard or a Tapu Koko, retreat into the Ultra Necrozma, and take care of business. This deck only plays 1 Cynthia. The reason why we can get away with that, we play 2 Erica's Hospitality. This card is just flat out better mid to late game when your opponent's got their board state set up. You just draw 5 or 6 cards every time, right off the top of the deck, assuming that you have 4 or fewer cards in your hand. So 5 cards including Erica's Hospitality in your hand. 3 Guzmas, pretty standard, allows you to kind of pick and choose your targets or to maybe stall your opponent out or just kind of get yourself going. 4 Lily, turn 1, there is no better supporter, especially in a deck like this where you have 11 outs for Pokemon Search. You can really truly get your hand down to one or none cards and draw those 8 cards on your first turn. Even then, every other turn in the game you can draw until you have 6. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. One thing this list does not play is Choice Band, and it does not play the Beast Energy, which is only good for Ultra Necrozma in this deck anyway. I honestly don't believe the deck's going to miss it. If you need to get more damage, you just attach more energy. So the ideal board state is going to be 3 Malamars down on the board, an Ultra Necrozma with a Metal Energy, and at least 1 and a Jirachi with an Skateboard. That's going to be kind of your go-to, and then you're probably going to end up being stuck with one of the Pokemon that you had to start with, be it a Koko, a Marshadow GX, the second Jirachi, a second Ultra Necrozma. Take that back. You're not going to bench another Ultra Necrozma unless you really need to thin your hand down for a Lily in the mid to late game. Just because you can copy it with Marshadow and because you can so easily load it up and take care of business. So I'm just going to save this real quick because we did make some edits before I recorded the video. And now let's see if we can get ourselves some quality opponents and have a good time. Let's see. Make sure we select the right deck, because that's important. Let's see here. It looks like our opponent is playing some sort of Zapdos variant, I'm guessing. Unless Lightning and Metal generally tells you Jirachi. I would think Zapdos, but we don't know that for a fact yet. Okay, so we got a little bit of a goofy hand to start. We're gonna be hoping that the Jirachi's able to kind of fish us out of it. Opponent mulligan, I don't mind that. Okay, so yeah, I was kind of right. Our opponent's playing Zapdos. It's evidenced by the Volkner and the Escape Rope. They like to use Volkner to constantly grab whatever switching cards. Ooh, they mulligan 3 times. Yes, please. Because now we can bench an Inkay and an Ultra Necrozma, which are great cards to hit off of that. And we drew another Inkay? Are you kidding me? We're in Nest Ball. We're going to take a look, see what we got. So we got the 2 Tinas, but we don't want a Nest Ball for it. We'd rather Mysterious Treasure it away, or Ultra Ball it away, or use Viridian Force to put it away. So we have 2 Malamars in hand, 2 Malamars in deck, and grab a 3rd Inkay. We're pretty happy right now, but pretty happy and I'm going to destroy you turn 2 are 2 very, very different things. So we have 4 Viridian Force. We don't really mind throwing one out there right away. Yes, our opponent will be able to find their lightning energy to attack, but I'm not terribly concerned with it. So I'm going to see if we can Stellar Wish and find something. No? Okay, no big deal. Again, not the end of the world. So we'll play a Lily. Another Nest Ball, Switch, Psychic Energy. So one thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to use Viridian Force to toss Psychic Energies into the discard pile, and then grab another one. Next turn, we're gonna go off a decent little bit. We're gonna drop 2 Malamars. We're gonna load up this Ultra Necrozma. We're gonna start being able to take some knockouts right away. Now our opponent does stand a very good chance of knocking out the Jirachi this turn, just because all he needs is Zapdos, a Switch, and an Energy. And we were gracious enough to provide our opponent with energy, by the form of Viridian Forest. So it looks like my opponent Ultra Balled away 2 lightning energy. Okay, drop the Coco Prism Star. Powerful ability, you get to take 2 energies from your discard pile and attach them to 2 different bench Pokemon, and then put Coco Prism Star into the Lost Zone. So that's generally not the greatest sign that you drew what you wanted. Play the Electro Power down. Oh, he's playing Pikarom. Okay. So now this matchup is going to be a little bit different. So Pikachu Zekrom is huge right now. There are a series of recorded videos that will never see the light of day due to how terrible of a job I did playing the deck. But this guy is huge right now. So, okay, there goes the Zapdos. Does he have the switching card? We will find out if he has the switching card. So he's going to juice 1 energy to that Zapdos, 1 energy to that Pikachu Zekrom, or a lot of us just call it Pikarom. Here's an Escape Rope. So we got to have a decision to make. What do we want him to take out? I personally think we're going to need that Inkay, so I'm going to let him swing into the Ultra Necrozma. Because he's not knocking out that Ultra Necrozma right now. Okay, he could be knocking out that Ultra Necrozma right now. Because he is, because he played that Electro Power. But does he have another one or a Choice Band? Because if he's 10 short, I might very well go in with the Tapu Lele and fetch out that Acerola. So he's going to accelerate. I would only accelerate 1 energy to Zapdos at this point. Oh, he's going in ham. He's going in ham. He's going for the Tag Bolt. We must punish our opponent. So, let's scare him a bit. So the only thing we don't have right now is an escape board. We have 1 Psychic Energy in the discard pile. We need to toss 1 so we can have the recharges. Grab 1. So I'm kind of looking in here and seeing, okay, what do I have? Oh, I only have 1 escape board in the deck, but I still have 2 more switches. Okay. We have a chance to do this. It's going to be a little goofy, but I want to take that out this turn. So we already made a misplay by grabbing the Psychic Energy because I could have grabbed Marshadow GX. Okay, so did this to myself. Let's see what we can do here. And we got bailed out by Jirachi. Alright, so now we're going to Psychic Recharge again. And this will probably cause our opponent to scoop because we've, at this point in time, we will have completely and utterly destroyed their setup, gone up 3 prizes. And in just all other terms, just really just, yeah, okay. That doesn't surprise me, but there was a huge misplay there. I should have just grabbed the Marshadow. I grabbed the Marshadow, a Viridian Force for a Metal Energy. No, actually, I didn't misplay. I didn't have anything in the discard pile for the Marshadow to copy. So, unintentionally, we won that game because I'm disorganized in my thoughts. It is still early. I am sleep deprived. But we're having a good time with it. Let's see. We've only been recording for 16.5 minutes. Let's see if we can't find something else fun. Saw Colorless, Fairy, and Fire. I have no idea what's going on here. Ooh, I like those sleeves though. I don't know what they are, but I like them. Oh. Grand Bowl. This is a deck that I personally just have a huge problem with. It shouldn't be as good as it is. Any deck that its gimmick is you have no cards in your hand is not a deck that I want to play. Because I like to have options. But this deck does a good job of keeping its options open. So it uses Macargo and a Rangaroo to constantly fish out everything that it could possibly want. We are going to want to... Oh, man. We need Giratina, we need multiple Psychic Energies, and we just need to swing with Giratina in this game. So first order business is to look in the deck, see what we got. Tapu Koko's not the best call in this matchup. You don't need it because you can constantly one-shot them with the Giratina. You do not bench Ultra Necrozma. It is very weak. They will destroy it. You will fall behind in the prize trade. It's no good. Okay. So we're going to mysterious, excuse me, Mysterious Treasure for the Giratina. We're going to Nest Ball for an Inkay. I forgot to check the Malamar count. We have 3 Malamars in deck. Use Viridian Forest. And we're going to actually use the Viridian Forest. We're going to discard the Giratina. We are going to fish out another Psychic Energy. We're going to leave the Giratina in the discard pile for right now, because I don't remember the math on all of my opponent's Pokemon, so I'm not going to bring that Giratina out until I'm able to utilize it better. Hey, Ultra Ball. Cool. We'd like Ultra Ball. So our opponent's attack will allow them to swing for 160 damage for 1 Fairy Energy if they have no cards in hand, which is a little nuts if you ask me. Don't mind those noises, that's just the cat doing what the cat does. So yes, I was just saying earlier, don't grab Ultra Necrozma, but I haven't played a supporter. And if I want to get the hot start that I want, I need to do all of the above. So, Lily for 7. We like it. Alrighty then. Slapping a skateboard down on the Jirachi, giving him free retreat. We're going to grab another Inkay. See, we got to leave that bench spot open for that Giratina. So Grand Bull has 130 HP, Macargo has a 90 HP, and the Oranguru has 120 HP. So quite frankly, the damage that I'm going to output from Distortion Door isn't all that relevant, but we're still going to hit the Macargo, or the Slugma that's going to evolve into Macargo, because we can theoretically set up a Sky Scorching Light. And then that Oranguru is also problematic. We will attach to the Giratina. Just double check. We're pretty satisfied with that turn. Jirachi stays asleep, no big deal. Now, this is where Grand Ball can run into its own problems, but it generally doesn't when you hit the Macargo turn 2. So it has an ability called Smooth Over. Once a turn before you attack, you may search your deck for one card, shuffle the rest of your deck, put that card you search for on top of your deck. With that combined with Instruct from Oranguru, where you get to draw until you have 3 cards in hand, is incredibly powerful. Sorry, the cat's chewing on the cord. So that combined with Oranguru's Instruct, which lets you draw until you have 3 cards in your hand when you're playing a deck that is designed to do nothing but make sure you have no cards in your hand at all times, is quite potent. So, not sure what he's smoothed over for, but we'll find out here because he's going to draw it. He'll play it and hope to play it on the rest of his hand in order to score a knockout right now. Apricorn Maker is great in that deck and that deck alone. You get to grab 2 Pokemon, 2 ball named cards. You grab 2 Great Balls. You can play him and fail him just to burn him out of your hand, but he's not going to play him to fail him. He's going to play him to try to grab another Snubble or some other sort of support Pokemon. Hey, buddy. Come on. Just get off the table, please. Okay, he found the Grand Ball with the Ultra Ball. Not surprising, took a knockout. That's fine. Once again, we don't really mind. He did slap down the Wondrous Labyrinth, which makes our attacks cost 1 more, which I'm not a huge fan of. Oh, great. Sorry, that's in his Lost Zone. So we still have our Viridian Forest, which is nice. But we are in a little bit of a pickle. We have no Malamars. We have no Drought Supporters. We're kind of banking heavy here. And we were not successful. We will grab the Switch out of the deck. We can attach there. If I retreat into an Inkay, it's not the end of the world here. Because when he knocks out that when he inevitably knocks out that Inkay next turn, I can promote Jirachi and go dig for another supporter card, hopefully. At this point in time, Erica would be superior to Lily, as it would net us more cards. Alright, Smooth Over, Grand Ball, something that's disposable, something that can be played right away. That's the key with the Grand Ball deck, is every time you want to play something that you can burn right away. Pokénav is a great example of that. He chose to grab nothing. He just rearranged the top 3 cards of his deck. Ditto Prism. I hope that doesn't come out to be something really goofy. So here's hoping we hit a Draw Supporter, because if not, we're going to be up the creek. Alright, that's not cool. So one thing we are going to do, because we still can attack, is we're going to use the Viridian Forest to toss the Viridian Forest, grab a Psychic Energy, complete Giratina's attack cost. So we have an attack this turn, which this is good because I don't want to fall behind, too far behind rather. One thing we can do here is we can Rescue Stretcher back that Inkay. I still want it. I still want to set up 3 Malamar if at all possible. It just makes trading so much more efficient with your opponent. Because they knock out a Giratina, you're like, cool, I'll bring it back. Recharge, 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 ready to go. Lily 4, 6. Oof. Well, it looks like we're getting one Malamar right now. That's important. So we don't need that Viridian Forest. We don't want Marshadow here. Not doing us any good. He's just a giant liability. Evolve into the Malamar. Retreat into the Giratina. Now this part becomes a little more important. Because let's say our opponent is unable to drop their hand down. They're not attaching the extra energy to the Grand Bolt to go for the Giant Fangs. We need to keep all of our Pokemon out of reach of being knocked out for 30 damage. So in this particular instance, we're going to use the Shadow Impact. We're going to damage our own Malamar because he's still got to work to knock it out if he chooses to go that route. Okay, we got another Tina. We don't really need it because as soon as he knocks this Tina out, we can Distortion Door it back, attach from Viridian Forest, and then go from there. But the second Tina could come in handy if he knocks out a Malamar or an Inkay, because then we can get a little more bench damage going, which could set up a Sky Scorching Light, which we might need to catch back up in the prize trade. Smoothing over. He promoted the Ditto, which I'm not entirely certain what's going on there. Because he could have just as easily promoted the Snubbull, grabbed a Grand Bowl. So, fails the Nest Ball. What's he got in his hand? He discarded a Snubbull for Viridian Forest. So he might have Grand Bowl. He's going to Rice Stitch for the Grand Bowl. Okay. Okay. I'm like, he's got to have it, right? Grand Ball always seems to have it, and it's really irritating. So he's going to knock me out right now. We're just like, alright, cool. All we really need is another Malamar, and we're alright for next turn. And that's where Jirachi comes in handy. Let's dig and find another trainer card, shall we? So first order of business is actually to take another card out of the deck. The more cards you take out of your deck, the higher chances of finding what you want. So order of operations is, when possible, use Viridian Forest before your Jirachi. Okay, now I almost just goofed up again, not paying attention to my own advice there. So we're going to Erica before we use Stellar Wish. Because we're going to just draw some cards. Whoo! We got some stuff. Mysterious Treasure, we're going to toss. We might need that Metal Energy. We're not going to use that Acerola in this matchup. So we got the second Malamar. We're happy. Malamar's going to go down there. So now we're going to juice our Giratina. Juice the Giratina. Now, do we get greedy and go for another Malamar? Yes. But in this particular instance, I wonder if it is appropriate to use the Stellar Wish to try to find something that we might want to throw away. The other thing is I can throw away that Lily, but then I might not have anything, and I can still play the hand down. So in this particular case, I'm going to double check and see if I've thrown away any Metal Energies. I have already thrown away one. We're going to throw away a Switch in that case. We probably don't need Switch as much as we need the Malamar at this point in time. As our opponent Guzma stalls us, our opponent Guzma stalls us. We have Guzmas, we have another Switch, we have options to deal with this. We're taking a long time on this turn. Cynthia. I think Cynthia is the proper call for this, because we might prize stuff that we don't want to throw away, something like that. So promote the Giratina. After all those shenanigans, we will take a knockout. We will do the happy dance. Doing the happy dance. We will enjoy our prize card of an Inkay. And not particularly. So the issue I foresee with our situation is that if our opponent continues to chain knockouts, is we will be able to contain knockouts. is we're going to keep tossing. They're going to keep knocking our Giratina in the discard pile. We're going to bring it back, load it up, knock out whatever they have. We need our opponent to miss a knockout, and then quite frankly miss a second knockout because they went first. They got the first couple knockouts. So we need a couple things to happen in our favor in order to secure this matchup. The other thing that might pop up is if I'm able to Distortion Door a couple more times, I can set up those Macargos on the bench for Sky Scorching Light to take the game. Now, one thing I'm now curious about is how many Snubbles has my man gone through? So he's on his third Snubbles on the field currently. He doesn't have a Granbull in there. He's already down to Ditto as well, so he is low on Granbull, or Snubble rather. Register Stitcher back a Snubble, put it on the bench, dispose of the card out of the hand. Oh, he's shuffling him back in. Oh no. Does that mean he has a Nest Ball? Yep. Okay. I would say if he didn't, that would have been a little silly, I think. He discarded for Viridian City. I like it. Alright, so now we have what we call the happy fun times, which is Sarcasm. So this is where Distortion Door is actually going to help us out, because if we are able to prevent our opponent from finding a Guzma, we're happy. Because if he Guzma's Choice Bands, he can knock out our Tapu Lele and take the game next turn. But if not, if he knocks out just a Giratina, we might be able to get something cooking. Actually, we're not going to be able to get something cooking here. So the only way we win now is we're not going to be able to get Sky Scorching Light off for game. The only way we're going to win is if our opponent starts whiffing. This is one of those moments where you realize, that Acerola might have been handy. Ping the Tapu Lele, Acerola it up on the following turn. Remove that possible win condition from our opponent's board state. But there is still hope. We can still potentially have our opponent whiff an attack. Granted, it's not going to be enough. But if our opponent whiffs an attack, we can get pretty happy. So Great Ball, Nest Ball, yep, makes sense. Fail the Nest Ball, play the Great Ball. Hope to find the Granbull, which they still have a lot of deck. But they have 2 Orangaroos and 2 Macargos. They're going to find whatever they want. Excuse me. Alright, I don't see us coming out of this one. I just don't. Like I said, the only way I see it working out is if our opponent whiffs an attack, which, with that board state, it is impossible to do. So I would believe you'd have to draw like double Guzma. This person might not even play Guzma. I haven't even seen it come out. It would be one way to ensure that you're never whiffing your attack. Because if you draw double Guzma, there's nothing you can do. So, with this board state, I'd want an Acerola to pick up one of these Malamars, So I can drop an Ultra Necrozma, which is still in the deck, more likely than not. And we can double check to make sure that we're going to lose. Yep, so we still have both of our Ultra Necrozmas in the deck. We're just banking that our opponent draws something unplayable, like 2 Grand Bull. See, we don't need anything. We have everything, and if we're gonna lose, we're gonna lose. Yep, and that'll do it. Kind of like I suspected. So I haven't played against Grand Bull a lot with this deck, so I wasn't 100% certain how to proceed going into it. Anyway, well, hey, we hit the next little reward thing. A couple bonus packs, not bad. Okay, well, I think that's it for Ultra Necrozma today. Maybe get something else put together a little bit later, and maybe we'll do a little Pika-Rom action, little Zorok action. Blacephalon, it took down Collinsville Regionals. Even after the guy that won it said that the deck was dead, but it just goes to show you, if you just keep on smacking for big numbers, that you can get some stuff accomplished. That being said, we're gonna call it a day. Orange Dragon Gaming signing out.